Hey 49ers fans, I'm Thomas Mott. Welcome into Chat Sports, and today, let's go ahead and give you 4 names who I think are going to have some breakout performances, a breakout season in 2020. These are my top 4 guys. Before we start, though, let me just say this. I'm not including any rookies, so there's no Brandon Ayuk, there's no Javon Kinlaw. These are players who played with the 49ers in 2019 and will have big breakout seasons in 2020. The first of which is my favorite, and to me, the guy who's going to be an absolute stud going forward and probably a future star for San Francisco. It's the linebacker Dre Greenlaw. Now, Greenlaw does not get a lot of, praise for how good he was as a 5th-round draft pick, a day 3 draft pick as a rookie for San Francisco last year. He started the year out as the Sam linebacker. Now, in a 4-3 system, going to get a little technical here, the Sam linebacker is a linebacker who's in there for base defenses. So when they're running 3 linebackers, then Greenlaw was in there. Whenever they run nickel, they would swap Greenlaw for Kwon Williams, which basically means that Greenlaw did not play a lot early on in the season. However, once Kwon Alexander was injured, obviously the torn pectoral muscle done for basically the remainder of the year, you had to move Greenlaw over to the will linebacker, the weak inside linebacker, and that linebacker is on the field for the majority of snaps. Once Greenlaw was on the field for the majority of the snaps, he was absolutely fantastic and played the final 8 games at the will. And was even to the point where even when Alexander came back for the postseason, they left Greenlaw at the will because he was playing so darn well. So he already has shown that he was a huge day 3 draft find. The question is going to be how much better can he get, and can he stay at the will linebacker going forward in 2020? There are reports that they have not decided whether it will be Kinlaw or Alexander. We'll have to wait and see what happens with that going forward. But this is a guy who, again, as a rookie, linebackers in terms of rookies later in the draft, a 5th-round draft pick at linebacker does not normally ball out and play really, really well and play a lot his rookie year. So after doing that in 2019, I expect big things from him going forward in 2020. The 49ers, in my opinion, have the best linebacker core in the entire National Football League. When you go 3 linebackers, you want to go base defense, 4-3, your 3 linebackers, Fred Warner, Kwon Alexander, and now Dre Greenlaw in his second year, there's none better. I mean, Fred Warner might be one of the best, most underrated inside linebackers in the league. He's the leader of that defense in terms of calling the plays from Robert Saleh. And now you have Greenlaw in year 2. He's going to absolutely pop. I think that Greenlaw is the first of my 4 big breakout candidates for 2020, and the one on this list that I would put the most money on for having a guaranteed breakout season. Now, question for you guys here. It's still up for debate who will be the will linebacker. Will it be Alexander? Will it be Greenlaw? If you guys think it should be Alexander, type A down below in the comment section. If it should be Greenlaw like I do, type G down below in the comment section as well. Moving on, another breakout candidate here. We'll stick with the defense. This one, again, is one that shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. It's Emmanuel Moseley, the cornerback who, of course, did not start at cornerback last year, waited for Keller Witherspoon to get injured with the foot. They brought in Moseley, and Moseley never left the starting spot. It's the exact same thing that happened with Greenlaw, where you wait for an injury, you then assume that starting role, and you play so darn well that you don't give the starting role back whenever the person you took it from comes back from injury. So Witherspoon was good, got injured, came back, and just couldn't really figure things out, so they kept Emmanuel Moseley in there, and he's been really, really great. Now, Emmanuel Moseley is probably one of the weaker players on the defense from a national media perspective. The national media will look at the 49er defense and go, oh, well, Emmanuel Moseley, opposite of Richard Sherman, is the worst player on that defense. Yet, he still played pretty darn well, and despite being one of the big holes or the big flaws in the 4th quarter of Super Bowl 54, I think he can have a bounce back, not just game, but a bounce back year as well. He could become a solid number 2 cornerback opposite of Richard Sherman. Now, breakout year could mean anything. He could be a Pro Bowler, or he could just be a solid number 2 option to hold down the left side of the football field. Opposite of Richard Sherman. I hope that Moseley turns out to be the cornerback that he was for the majority of those football games. It is not like he was in the Super Bowl, but the big deal here is that the 49ers did not draft a cornerback at all in the 2019 draft, which means they are trusting in Emmanuel Moseley to essentially be that cornerback spot, at least hopefully going forward. Now, before we move on, we have a crazy good sale right now on 49er jerseys. You guys should go ahead and jump on right now. Chatsports.com/49ers1 has jerseys that are 25% off. $75 for an authentic Nike jersey. You guys could get one right now. Again, the link is in the description. Chatsports.com/49ers1. I've said it before, but I got my mom a jersey using this exact discount code, and she loved it for Mother's Day. So the deal's still going on, so go ahead and jump on it right now. When you compare Moseley to Witherspoon, things get pretty interesting in terms of who will start at cornerback overall for the 49ers. The numbers are skewed a little bit because Moseley played in more games, so obviously like 50 tackles versus 28 tackles could be kind of an eye-popping stat there, but overall, the stats don't show how much better Moseley was for the majority of the games that he started versus those fewer games that Witherspoon started as well. But I expect Moseley to be that starting cornerback, and I'm hoping he can be one of the breakout candidates at the same time. Pick one. Which one do you guys want to start at cornerback? Obviously, it's an open battle at training camp. They're not going to guarantee Moseley the spot until he proves it in training camp. Who do you guys think will win, Moseley or Witherspoon? Give me your thoughts in the comment section down below as well. We move over to the offense. Let me just keep saying this before we talk about Jerick McKinnon. The 49ers have a lot of already breakout stars. Like, there are a lot of players on the team who already broke out. Like, Nick Bosa was great last year. Jimmy Garoppolo was great last year. Raheem Mostert. So it's hard to kind of pick and choose and find guys who will be breakout stars because the majority of players on this team are really, really good. And we're not doing rookies as well. So it kind of helps me narrow things down. And that's why I settled on Jerick McKinnon, who, of course, has not been seen since training camp of 2018 in terms of being on a football field. 2 seasons, Jerick McKinnon has had knee issues, tore the ACL, he had MCL problems. It was just a mess in terms of lower body stuff for McKinnon. Restructured his deal this offseason. We covered that at an extensive amount of time in terms of our offseason coverage here in the 49ers report. But the big deal for McKinnon and why he's going to get more touches and probably be a breakout star because they traded Matt Breida away to the Miami Dolphins on day 3 of the NFL draft. So if you look at the overall depth chart, which we'll get to here in a second, it looks really good right now for Jerick McKinnon. Before we do that, though, be sure to subscribe to the 49ers report here. And also, the big deal today, click the notification bell down below. Now, Thomas, why do I need to click the notification bell? I'm already subscribed. Well, YouTube is weird, and sometimes they don't actually notify you when we drop a new video. So if you guys want to be notified whenever we drop new videos, just click the notification bell down below, and then YouTube will notify you, which helps us out and helps you guys get all of our content as soon as possible at the same time. Back to the Niners running back depth chart. With Breida out, it's obviously Mostert at 1, Coleman will be 2, but McKinnon is really going to be 2B. It's like 2A and 2B. They're both elusive running backs who catch the ball well out of the backfield, and so I think Jerick McKinnon, if he can stay healthy, and everything that we've read, everything, all the reports have said he's going to be healthy, can be that out of the backfield threat that the Vikings had him as just a couple of years ago in Minnesota. This was one of the elite pass catchers out of the backfield back during his time in terms of 2017 with the Minnesota Vikings. 51 catches as a running back. He had almost 200 touches in total in a backfield where he was sharing with other running backs there in Minnesota. I think Jerick McKinnon can come in here, hopefully stay healthy, and get some touches out of the backfield, maybe even take some touches away from Tevin Coleman and be one of the breakout running back stars alongside Mostert and alongside Tevin Coleman at the same time. The Niners were a top 5 team rushing last year. That will remain, and McKinnon should be a part of that at the same time. Now, McKinnon and Coleman are both very good catching the football out of the backfield. Who do you think will have more catches? I want to see what you guys think in the comment section down below. Type M down below for McKinnon. Type C down below for Coleman. I want to gauge your guys' thoughts on McKinnon versus Coleman because that really is the number 2 running back battle right now in San Francisco. Final breakout player is probably going to be my most interesting player to watch going forward in terms of offseason, training camp, preseason, and the regular season. It's Jalen Hurd. We talked about Jalen Hurd, the wide receiver out of Baylor, a lot here. I think he's going to be the breakout star on the offense in terms of the wide receivers. Now, there are some other wide receivers like Trent Taylor and Dante Pettis who you can make an argument for. Brandon Ayuk might have a good year as a rookie. But Jalen Hurd was a guy who did not play in 2019 due to a back injury, and yet many people said he was one of the best players, the best overall skill players on the football team during the entire time that they were at training camp. So he comes in here with not a lot of expectations because he missed 2019, but with a lot of opportunities for one-on-one opportunities and one-on-one chances against hopefully slot cornerbacks and safeties and maybe even linebackers because Hurd likes to go across the middle. And hopefully Deebo Samuel keeps balling out like he did last season, take some double teams, take some of the defensive eyes away from Jalen Hurd, and Hurd can be one-on-one and dominate just like he did at Baylor University where he caught, 69 catches and 946 yards and also ran the football because he was a former running back at the same time. Now, I thought about doing Brandon Ayuk here, but then I decided to not do rookies like I said at the beginning of this video. But it's interesting because Hurd and Ayuk are basically coming in into the same offense, right? Hurd's had an extra year, but he hasn't actually been playing in that offense. So Hurd and Ayuk will be competing to see who's going to be that number 2 wide receiver behind Deebo Samuel. And honestly, based on their stats in college at Arizona State and Baylor, it's hard to go ahead and pick a favorite. Hurd had less receiving touchdowns, but also had 3 rushing touchdowns, so 8 versus 7 basically becomes the same. The question is just going to be, will both step up? Will one step up? Will Hurd's extra year kind of learning the playbook help him out? Or is Ayuk just a better talent? That will be the overall question. But I have a lot of confidence in Jalen Hurd, and I really think he's going to do very, very well for San Francisco going forward into the 2020 season. Now, there are some honorable mentions, not a lot, because again, a lot of the 49er players, Mostert, Samuel, Bosa, Warner, they already did ball out, so it's not a big shock if they're a breakout player in 2020. But your honorable mentions who did not make the list: Trent Taylor, the wide receiver, who apparently the coaches are very high on. I'm a little less high on because of Ayuk and Hurd, but coaches are high on him. Ross Dwelley, they didn't go. They thought about adding an extra tight end behind George Kittle at some point in the offseason. They did not. Kittle still remains unsigned. Dwelley could be a breakout tight end for the 49ers. Solomon Thomas has been a breakout candidate for the past 3 years and hasn't been able to do it. Maybe this is the year behind Javon Kinlaw. And then a guy like Jaquiski Tartt, who's been here in his second year and obviously has played in the 49er defense, but only played 60% of the snaps last year and is expected to get more playing time as the year goes forward. Maybe he's a breakout star there in the secondary. Remember, rookies not included because we know Kinlaw's going to ball out, and we hope that Brandon Ayuk balls out at the same time as well. There you go, though. My 4 breakout candidates for the 49ers 2020 season. I would expect you guys to agree with them because Greenlaw, Moseley, Hurd, and obviously McKinnon are all, to me, the best breakout candidates you can possibly have. We'll have to wait and see what happens with the season, but these guys are going to be featured a lot in the defense and the offense, and hopefully they perform to the expectations that many 49er fans, including myself, expect them to at some point now going forward into next season. All the time we have for today here on the 49ers Report. I'm Thomas Mott, signing off for the rest of your day.